Welcome. Today, I would like to talk through with you the geoscience education challenges and opportunities, giving you an industry perspective, career opportunities available, workforce supply challenges, a bit of history in terms of where we've come on this journey, and finally recommend some actions that can help to improve the current situation in the future. So if we think about the resources industry as it currently stands, it is rapidly transforming due to technology. We need to discover and extract deeper and more complex ore bodies, many with lower profit margins. We have a changing commodity mix moving away from the carbon-based fossil fuels into more future-facing commodities such as copper and nickel, designed for the alternative energy programs that we're moving toward. And we have a sharpened accountability for environmental and social value planning and outcomes. We have a more flexible workforce enabled by technology, and that's great because it actually improves our diversity. Our careers now offer much greater breadth than they ever have in the past. So we can do the contribution in terms of discovering new resources to improve global living standards. We can reduce the footprint of resource extraction. We can improve resource stewardship. We can, as I've already mentioned, play a pivotal role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions by providing the minerals required for alternative energy products. We can protect humanity with respect to management of geohazards. We can contribute to food and water sustainability, and we can apply our knowledge in other areas, both in the natural world as also in the universe. Let's face it, in addition to geoscience being an awesome career, our skills are essential for making the world a better place. But we're facing our biggest challenge. We're seeing unprecedented low numbers of undergraduate enrolments in geoscience degrees across the Western world. And this is leading to schools either closing or restructuring, purely financial decisions based on numbers of students and the cost involved with teaching these degrees. Geoscience career options are not well understood by secondary students or their parents or their educators. And the public perception of the resources industry is at an all-time low. And this is due to things such as social media, environmental and social activists, but it's also due to high visual impact events such as the Brumadinho and Samarco dam failures in Brazil and the Juukan Caves destruction more recently in Western Australia. University teaching staff are quite often, they haven't been working within the resources industry for a period of time, and we do see gaps between curricula and industry requirements. We've also got a demographic of the workforce that is nearing retirement, and that significant numbers of people in that space, including myself. We actually need to address this. So one of the ways that we need to look at this is to go back in time and see where we've come from. So if we go back to 1998, the Minerals Council of Australia commissioned a study really looking at the state of the minerals tertiary education at that time. And what it discovered was that we had a shortage of academic staff, and we had a very fragile position with respect to many universities due to low enrolment numbers in degrees and the high costs associated with teaching them. There were a number of recommendations that related to consolidation and collaboration between schools, greater work experience opportunities for students, companies to be clearer about the skills that they were looking for with respect to the graduates, closer relations between industry, government and academia, indeed that actually created formation of the Minerals Tertiary Education Council. That council still exists today. It does funding for areas such as the Nexus Exploration Program and has more recently funded a schools gamification project for years 6 and 8, and I'll mention that a little bit more in the talk later on. There was a follow-up study that the Minerals Council created in 2017 Really similar findings, but the added findings of the anti-mining perception of millennials and an impetus to improve significantly inclusion and diversity in the industry. The Australian Geoscience Council in 2018 produced a tertiary education profile, and this really clearly showed that there's a 3-year lag in terms of enrolments following industry and boom and bust cycles. A key learning was that the resources industry people strategies do not address the inevitable boom and bust cyclicity that plagues our industry. AGC also produced a decadal plan in 2018 for geoscience, recommending government support for geoscience because it is a strategically important discipline for the Australian resources industry, contributes significantly to GDP. Integrating professional bodies, universities, industry and government to determine multidisciplinary pathways for next-gen geoscientists. Focus areas to include soft skills like collaboration and communication, as well as technology-related skills such as computer studies. Professional development for industry geoscientists and better teaching resources in schools, not dissimilar to previous recommendations. In 2019, the Australian Institute of Mining and Metallurgy held a resources education summit. All participants agreed that with significant decreases in geoscience enrolments, competition with other sectors for graduates and perception challenges around the resources industry, we were not just experiencing a deficit in terms of supply versus demand, but this was going to continue. And there was a recommendation to form a council which is really going to be called the Council for Resources Industry Future Workforce, to address this issue. I think it was really important to learn in the summit that we don't have a clear industry view of future demand, either skills or numbers, within the industry, nor is there a single view in terms of forecast graduate supply. We need to address that. So if you think about creating the next generation of geoscientists, we really need to consider that as a production line, or indeed if we're in the mining industry, a conveyor system. And with that, I'd like to recommend some initiatives to achieve that. We do need to apply technology to engage with our school students and build a sustainable relationship with the natural resources industry. The Schools Gamification Project has a great opportunity to do that, embedded within curriculum. Susie Urbaniak is talking about that project at another session within this conference, and I strongly encourage you to listen to her talk. The Council for Resources Industry Future Workforce, it will be stood up early in 21. Industry does need to share graduate capability requirements with universities. BHP has a framework which we have shared with some universities on request. If anyone else would like that, we're happy to share. Industry must commit to consistent intern and grad employment opportunities, irrespective of cyclicity. We also need to offer intern employment opportunities for first-year students. This gives them an opportunity to get a taste for the industry and then decide on their degree majors, and hopefully encourage them to take resources-related and particularly geoscience degrees. And finally, because we do believe that there is a supply deficit that's going to be going for a few years, the federal government does need to relax visa approvals to address or allow the industry to recruit, irrespective of current local area demand shortfalls. Thank you.